my name is Prarthona. I'm in grade 7 at Prunskill School, Saskatoon, Saskatchewan, Canada.
Hi, my name is Prokriti. I'm in grade 6 at Prunskill School, Saskatoon, Saskatchewan, Canada.
Today I'm going to be playing the Indian harmonium and I'm going to be singing a Bangla song that my mom taught me. Bangla is the language that both my mom and my dad speak. The song that I'm going to be singing means always believe in yourself and believe in your strength and always stay resilient.
I'm going to be playing an instrument called the French horn, and I'm going to be playing a song called Good to Be Home.
I'm going to be playing the trumpet and I'm going to be playing O Canada.
Today we will be talking about our resiliency story in quarantine by Prarthona in grade 7 at Prunskill School and
Prokriti in grade 6 at Prunskill School.
Today we will be talking about how we have been resilient by listening to our ancestors' stories,
Walking in nature,
dancing and singing,
breathing fresh air,
reading and writing,
art,
and being around roadside animals.
Explaining my resiliency stories, I need to explain who I am, where I come from, and my ancestors' stories. My sister Prarthona and I, Prokriti, heard many stories from my parents and grandparents regarding who we are and where we came from. My parents immigrated from Bangladesh to Canada 10 years ago. I'm going to share the stories that they shared with us. My dad was born into a minority family. Minority means indigenous and other minority religious groups of people. The minority in Bangladesh lives in colonization. They do not have land, language, and rights like the majority of people who are Muslim in Bangladesh. Minority people are often displaced from the land and face racism in everyday life. Minority people often get killed for their culture, tradition, and spirituality. My dad's family faced severe poverty and many sorts of challenges during his childhood because his lost father when he was only a 1-month-old baby. My grandpa passed away because he was a victim of the 1971 Liberation War in Bangladesh. He got shot by the Pakistani army during the war. During the war, millions of minority and the majority of people got killed and displaced from their ancestral land. Still, the displacement and killing is going on the majority. My grandma that I did not get to see her, she became a widow with 6 children and she did not have enough educational degrees to find a job. During the Liberation War, my family got displaced. During the Liberation War, 3 million people sacrificed their lives. At that time, most of the people were scared to get out of their house because if they did, the Pakistani military would shoot them. Everyone was very panicked and traumatized. Many people did not have food, clothes, shelter, a job, and students could not go to school, college, or universities. At that time, there was no internet or class facilities. Innocent people were getting shot, and also children were getting shot too. women were getting kidnapped, raped, and killed. The liberation work was continued for 9 months. After hearing this story, I realized that we are in a better situation during COVID-19 lockdown here in Canada. There are also common natural disasters, such as floods, cyclones, almost every year in Bangladesh. Many thousands of people die and thousands of people lose their lives and homes almost every year. There are many privileged people in Bangladesh too, but my dad's family was at risk and directly affected by the liberation war and for the natural disasters because they don't have a good house to live in. My dad directly experienced severe floods. His mom could not send him to school, and she could not give him good housing, good clothes, or good schooling. The Bangladesh government could not provide enough facilities like the Canadian government. For example, emergency funding for the students. We have seen how the Canadian government has been supporting every citizen. For example, health, housing, employment, food, and education. My dad's struggling life story is unique, which is not like other Bangladeshi people. His life story is helping me to understand my privileges that I'm getting here in Canada during this COVID-19 lockdown, as I feel that we are privileged living in Canada, that we have access to internet and many survival facilities such as food, good housing, water, electricity, and transportation.
I, Prarthona Datta, drew a resiliency wheel, which I learned from First Nations elders in Saskatoon, Saskatchewan, Canada. This resiliency wheel is connected with First Nations medicine wheel. This section represents how I learned different resiliency stories from my parents, grandparents, my community, and my intercommunity. These stories helped me become resilient during this COVID-19 lockdown. How can we reconnect with nature, animals, and humans? We learned from Indigenous elders why the relationship with the sun, air, water, plants, insects, and the rain are important. We respect ourselves, our parents, our grandparents, our community, the air, the sun, the water, the plants, the insects, and the rain. I learned from the Indigenous elders that the air, the sun, the water, plants, insects, and rain are all our relatives. We all as humans and non-humans are interconnected and interdependent with each other. We need to take care of each other. We have a responsibility for each other. For instance, the bee has many roles in our everyday lives. Without bees, we may not have the food which we are dependent on. Therefore, we are spiritually connected with everything surrounding us. Spirituality is when we respect the animals and plants that sacrifice their lives for our survival. Spirituality is when everything is connected and interdependent. Spirituality is living together because we do not own the land owns us. Land is our mother, it gives us food, and it is where our culture began. Cultural and social aspects refer to who we are, where we came from, and where we need to go. Who we are is our language, our pre-colonial and colonial history. Who we are is our practices and our land-based knowledge. It refers to us coming to our land, our family, and finding our identity. Where we came from is the place we are from, our culture, and our social practices. Another way we are being resilient is by walking in nature. During this COVID-19 lockdown, it is important to go outside, so that is why my family and I go on walks outside. Going for a walk helps me breathe in the fresh air and get outside. When I go for walks, I feel fresh, happy, and free. My family and I go walking in lots of different places away from people. We go to the river, the countryside, and different parks. We make sure not to touch any playground equipment, benches, trash cans, or anything anyone else could have touched. Walking can be therapeutic because after staying in for so long, it can drive you crazy. When I go outside, there are many different skies every day. The sky changes every day. It will never be the same as another. Kind of like life, it is always changing, and no day is the same as another. Since my family goes on many walks, it helps us get closer together. We play soccer, throw frisbees, and we also go on runs as a family. I now get to spend much more time with my baby sister. Before, I barely got to spend any time with her. In some ways, quarantine is a good thing. It helped with family bondage. This is why my family and I go on walks.
I will be talking about how dance and music have helped me stay active and positive during this COVID-19 pandemic. COVID-19 does not make me stop my extracurricular activities. I'm keeping myself resilient during this COVID-19 pandemic by dancing, singing, and playing musical instruments. I do lots of types of dance, but during this pandemic, I had to stop physical dance learning at dance schools. These dances are ballet, jazz, Indian classical Kathak, Bharatanatyam, Bangla folk, Russian, German, and indigenous powwow dance. I have lots of flexible time to practice dances these days. Why I do these dances during this quarantine is so I can stay happy, active, hopeful, and won't forget the things I learned since I was 3 years old. It also gives us inner strength to calm down. In addition to dance, we also do lots of musical activities, including singing, playing the piano, French horn, trumpet, and Indian harmonium. Why we do this is because it is therapeutic for our mind and body. We are not feeling depressed or bored and lonely. Dance, music have helped us to have more energy, positivity, and joyful times. How we are continuing everything is from online and getting tremendous support from our parents. COVID-19 has taught us different meanings of dance and music.
During this COVID-19 lockdown, going outside is one of the best things, and one of the other best things is breathing in the fresh air. After staying in for so long, it feels great to go outside in the fresh air. When you go outside, you can feel the cool breeze whooshing past you. The air makes me feel fresh and happy. Breathing fresh air is an amazing thing after staying in for so long.
Now I'm going to talk about how writing and reading have helped me cope during COVID-19. Writing and reading during COVID-19 are very therapeutic. Why writing and reading are therapeutic for me is because it helps me relax my mind. Writing and reading make me feel happy and good for the rest of the day. COVID-19 has given me lots of free time to write and read. I'm maintaining my regular journal and I'm writing about COVID-19 so that the next generation can learn about what happened to people during this pandemic. During this quarantine, I haven't painted a painting. The theme was to protect the environment and COVID-19 awareness. Doing art during this COVID-19 is therapeutic. Doing art is a productive way to spend your time. Art makes me feel relaxed and calm. I chose to do artwork to tell people to help reduce the spread of COVID-19. During this time, we all need to support each other as a community. I have drawn.
Another way we cope with COVID-19 is by going to see roadside animals. Since COVID-19 has all of us in quarantine, my family and go on lots of car rides. We go to the countryside most of the time. We go to the countryside so often so we can get away from the city and other people. Sometimes on the way we see different birds like Canadian geese, ravens, crows, seagulls, pelicans. Sometimes we also see wild dogs and deer. Since the weather is getting warmer, we get to see more of them more often. Roadside animals are a lot of fun to be around. Therefore, our resiliency is to support each other by sharing stress collectively. We often carry the stress of relatives in our body so that we do not have to carry our stresses alone. Through connecting this way, we thrive in the best of times and survive in the worst of times. Sharing stories collectively also means we may experience increased feelings of fear, worry, anger, shame, and other challenging emotions. For support, we can lean into our cultural strengths, knowing that we have a long history of resilience. We have traditions and practices that ground us in the present and keep us well, spiritually, mentally, physically, and emotionally. We have many cultural strengths to draw upon to stay connected and keep well, even while we practice social distancing. Thank you so much for listening. So, we are going
to
to
be
be
showing our drawings. This one is protect the environment. It says protect the environment, wash your hands, and stay home.
This is a drawing that I did. This is a drawing of my building with a mask to represent how we are all social distancing and in quarantine.
This is a mask me and my sister have painted.
It's a homemade mask, and we use it during this COVID-19 crisis.
Me and my sister have been knitting to spend our time during this COVID-19 pandemic.
This is a scarf that I'm making for my family.
And this is a blanket I'm making for my little baby sister.
Thank you so much for listening.
Prarthona and Prokriti, can you please let us know why you chose to share your resilience story with Heritage Fair audience?
The reason we chose our resiliency story is because when school was on, we were very happy, but then when it closed, we got very bored and we lost our motivation. But when we started telling our resiliency story, we started getting strength, and it helped us get back on track.
Do you want to add something, Prokriti?
The main factor is motivation. Like, we lost it because we used to have classes 4 times a week, and now we don't have that anymore. And our housing is very small, our apartment building, and we don't have space to practice it.
Mm-hmm. So what were the main challenges of getting it done doing this project?
The main challenges were we only have one computer, and on that computer our parents have their schoolwork to do, and we have our online classes, and we also wanted to do this heritage fair, but we didn't have the resources to do it.
Anything else? Do you want to add something more, Prarthona?
Yes, also because my little baby sister, she always needs care, and so like we didn't have much time to finish our poster. So yeah.
Mm-hmm. Do you want to add more?
Also, our apartment building, the way the pattern is, we can't really play our instruments because it is way too loud.
Mm-hmm. Then how did you manage?
We played them outside in the nature.
Wonderful.
Why do you think other people should care about your resilience stories?
I think others should care about our resiliency stories is because when we started telling our resiliency stories, it helped us get strength. And so I think if other people hear our stories, I think it'll help them be resilient as well.
And it is also a positive, it's also very positive, so it'll help too.
Thank you.
Thank
Stay
you.
safe and well.